Hi everybody, my name's Ola Dabbagh-Roberts. I'm the Learning and Development Manager at the Moir Group. I've put a little video together for those of you who are out there in the job market, continuing to pursue a new role. You may be recently on the market considering, or as a direct result of what's happening with COVID-19, or you've been looking for a little while. Either way, I'm hoping that the next 10 or 15 minutes helps you just to fine-tune your approach to moving towards that new opportunity in this current situation that we find ourselves in. It's still possible, there's still roles out there, albeit the market is obviously quite a lot slower than we'd like it to be. So about the next 10 minutes, I'll go through what would be really important elements in taking control of your career at the moment. At Moir Group, we talk about thinking being the most important thing. It's obviously really key at the moment because it's very easy in our desperation perhaps, or in our mindset at the moment with having potentially lost a role or being out of work a while and then being faced with looking for work in this situation, is our thinking may get scrambled. We might be going straight to to interview opportunities or to networking without really thinking through what we need. So we talk about taking control from the beginning in terms of understanding what you're looking for and understanding what you're offering, making sure your mindset is where it needs to be. Then, with that in mind, you're very well placed to create communication, CV, LinkedIn profiles that are consistent and are effective. Next, considering the remote nature of how we're all working at the moment, how can you network? How can you network effectively and continue to build on those connections through COVID-19? And as we're doing now, most interviews, if not all, are being undertaken in a video context, so through Zoom or through something else. So how do you also continue to leverage the interview in this format? It's something that I've had to get used to, and I think we all do at the moment. So really important to brush up on some of those skills as well. And then finally, once you do land that role, and you will eventually, if it's not sort of in the next few weeks, certainly towards the end of this crisis when things pick up, is what do you need to do to execute? What sort of things do you need to build into your interview messaging that you might like to talk to your potential employer about? So with thinking, it's really important to stay growth mindset oriented. Now, what I mean by that is it's based on the work of Dr. Carol Dweck, wonderful lady who's done some amazing research on what this means. So growth mindset, particularly at the moment, is about remembering that this potentially is an opportunity. And if you're going into this situation with what is the opposite, which is a fixed mindset and worrying and limiting yourself and talking about what you can't do versus what you can do in your head, hopefully not in an interview, and and seeing things as they were, then you potentially aren't going to be presenting yourself and moving towards the opportunities that potentially are going to be more interesting, more exciting, more fruitful for you into the future. So making sure that your mindset is really open, that you are continuing to learn, that you are really putting your best foot forward, means making sure that you remain in growth stage. And what else? The opportunity at the moment is also to enhance your personal brand. Looking at what you've got online at the moment, looking at the CV you've got, looking at the connections that you've got, are they serving you well? Are they as good as they can possibly be? Do they reflect your values? Is your photo one, a lovely photo, or is it one that potentially is outdated and doesn't put you in the best possible light? Is your online behaviour what it needs to be? Are you engaging, or are you potentially making cynical comments that can be interpreted or misinterpreted to create the perception you don't want to create? Do your social media profiles and other things you put out there in the online world, which is the one we're living in right now, are they putting you in a positive light, and are they projecting the image that you want them to project about who you are? So that personal brand is really important, more important now probably than ever, in as far as you don't necessarily get that opportunity in the next sort of few months at least, if not beyond that, to meet someone face to face and to build that human connection. So think about your personal brand and just ask yourself, is it putting me in the best possible light that it can? At the moment, again, you may be looking for a permanent role, and there are fewer of those out there potentially. So consider interim as a genuine option. There are a lot of organisations out there that are seeking people's skills to cover off on a project or to move a transformation forward, or simply to cope with what's going on at the moment with COVID-19. Remain open, demonstrate your intention with recruiters or with direct employers that you are willing to consider a range of opportunities and you're not just fixed on a particular sector for a permanent role. It's really important to be flexible right now. And with that, you know, moving into, now that you've done your thinking, you're wanting to make sure that the communication that you put out there is as sharp as it can possibly be. So making sure you're clear on what makes you excellent, what are you bringing to the table, really reflect on that. What are your strengths, particularly as they relate to crisis management or, you know, completing really, you know, real-time and urgent tasks. Are you using effective language in your communication to describe these? Is the language reflecting that, you know, that urgency that you know is going to be out there, and people are looking for that responsiveness and that, you know, sharpness of thinking? Have you demonstrated through your CV the achievements? Have you gone back over your CV and your LinkedIn profile to make sure that you have really good standout examples of what you can bring? There's a lot of candidates out there looking, and if you want to differentiate yourself, it is a matter of making sure that you really are highlighting and emphasising all the wonderful things that you've done. With that in mind, whether you're currently a leader or whether you're moving into a leadership role, it's important to know that what an organisation is looking for in any person it brings on is leadership, and that's self-leadership, but that's also leadership of others and leadership of organisations. So they want to know that you'll contribute in the following areas. So think about whether your CV, again, and what you're presenting out there reflects things like change and transformation, that element of technology, relationships with key stakeholders. Can you demonstrate through what you're putting out there that you are someone who can collaborate and achieve business outcomes? Do you understand, if not are practicing, you know, across the breadth of a financial leadership role? Again, whether you're a junior leader, an emerging leader, or someone who's starting out, to be able to talk about leadership and the need for that, and the balance between strategic and operational focus in your role will very much differentiate you from potentially other candidates. And obviously, if you are looking for a leadership role and you're potentially at a more senior level, making sure that you really, in your CV, it's reflected that you have strengths in leadership, that you have strength in character, that you have a broad view. No longer are finance leaders just finance leaders. You're often a part of a broader, multi-faceted team. So sharpen your messaging around those things. And again, networking, how do you do that at the moment when this is all we've got essentially, or phone calls? Attend some online events, sharpen the saw, introduce yourself to new people, participate in webinars, and ask questions and provide some of your own insights and contributions. It's about give and take at the moment. I think there's a lot of noise out there. We need to be part of the solution, not just part of the noise. Write an article, write a blog, make it relevant, reach out to people, and set up virtual coffees. At Moir Group, we've been doing virtual drinks on a Friday. We do quizzes. Get involved as much as you can with whatever community you do have. We'll be doing a little bit more of these sorts of things as well, and some Zoom chats and that kind of thing. So yeah, make sure you're involved. And some of you may be right now doing, doing interviews, and those that aren't, then just a few things to consider as you're moving towards that stage of your job search. Mindset is key, I've already said that. So present yourself as a very open, flexible, forward-thinking candidate. Differentiate yourself through your mindset. Obviously present really well. It's nice to sit in our PJs and, but how you feel or how you dress is really important to how you present. Preparation, that goes without saying. Research everything you need to know about the potential the organisation and go beyond the call. So don't just do the usual research, go beyond and find Find out other things that potentially other candidates might not bother finding out. So go beyond. And then when you are responding, what you can see on your screen is our STAR, excuse me, our STAR approach. So bring out examples and approach the response in the following way. Set the scene. What was your part in it and what was the outcome? Excuse me. With that, one more thing to cover, and that is talking in an interview about what you plan to do in those first 90 days will also set you apart from other candidates. You're going to demonstrate an understanding and an ownership of the role before you get it. You're going to talk to them about how you're going to learn the business, how you're going to connect with people, how you're going to drive excellence at whatever level you might be, and how you're going to make sure your own learning continues. So at Moir, we talk about work being a big part of people's lives, and having a satisfying job is really, really important. So move towards it with confidence, move towards your job search with a growth mindset. Please reach out to us if you need anything, and I hope this has been useful. Thanks, everybody.